Hi, I'm Henry with Digital FOV, maker of digital crosshairs, night vision clip-on. Recently I've gotten a lot of questions about infrared illuminators. People ask me, well, what's the best infrared illuminator out there? What's the most powerful one? And they'll say, well, I want to get more distance out of my night vision system. Well, if you're talking about infrared night vision, whether it's intensifier tube or digital, getting a stronger infrared illuminator will increase your distance. So infrared illuminators, as you know, it's invisible light. In the video you see it looks red, but in night when you're flashing it out, it's invisible, you can't see it. Now the new flashlights are measured in looms, but looms is a measurement of visible light. Infrared light is invisible and is not measured in looms. That would have made it too easy. But what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the difference in infrared illuminators, how to compare them, and how to tell which ones are more powerful than others. Now basically I want to start with the components of an infrared illuminator. Okay, if you look at an illuminator, if you look inside of it, you can see the emitter. Okay, this is a board that an emitter is actually soldered onto. The little thing in the middle is an infrared emitter. Now with infrared illuminators, unlike the old-fashioned flashlights that just have a bulb inside that's connected to a battery, an infrared emitter has got to have a circuit board. Okay, this circuit board is what controls the emitter, controls the power going to it, and turns it on, turns it off. Now when you look at emitters, they're advertised, a lot of them, with three modes: low, medium, and high. Well, a digital FOV, our emitters just have one mode, which is high, because we think when you're out hunting, you want as much light out there as possible. The distance that you're going to get is going to be further when it's on high. But besides that, our circuit boards only have one mode. But a lot of circuit boards will come with three modes, and the way you change it is a little clicker button on the back. As you click it, it'll change it from one mode to the other. With ours, you turn it on and it's on, you turn it off and it's off. Now the circuit board and the emitter, they're put together in something that's called a pill. Okay, this is commonly referred to as the pill. It's got the circuit board on the back. It's got this spring connected to the negative side of the circuit board, and then the circuit board is wired to the emitter on the front. You can kind of see the emitter in there. Now these pills, they basically fit down into your housing of your emitter. And that's basically how it's put together. Now with these emitters, you can get different pills. You can get a white light pill for most of them. You can get a red, you can get a green, you can get infrared in 850 nms, or you can get it in 940 nms. 940 is invisible infrared light as well, but it's not as popular because it's not as bright. So basically that's what I wanted to go over. Now, how do you tell which emitter is more powerful than another? Well, the components. Okay, our emitters use an Oslam black emitter, IR emitter. We feel it's the most powerful one on the market. They're made in the U.S. They're very popular. That's the wrong one. This one's got it on there. You can see it's got the Oslam black emitter. So I would look for illuminator that uses this Oslam black emitter. The other thing that's going to change the power of your illuminator is whether or not it's focusable. Like with ours, you can dial it out for a tight beam, or you can dial it back so it has a wider beam. And that's how we control how much light you're actually putting on a subject. So with that tight beam, we're throwing a narrow beam very far. With the wider beam, it's just a wide beam, so it's not whitening out something that's close. Now this emitter, it's got a 38 millimeter lens on it. Okay, now the size of the lens on your emitter is also going to have something to do or have an effect on the range you're going to get. This more powerful emitter that we sell, it's got a 50mm lens on it. This one's good for about 300 yards. This one's good for about 200 yards. Slight difference in size, a difference in weight. This one's a little heavier. So when you look at emitters, one thing you want to look at is, well, how heavy is it? Okay, what size is the objective lens on it? The other thing that affects the power of your emitter is how many watts is it? How many watts is the circuit board? This one is 3 watts. Well, it's less powerful than this one, which is 5 watts. So when you're looking through the specs on the emitter that you're getting ready to buy, look at the specs. Say, well, how many watts is it? It's like looking at a white light flashlight. You're going to look and say, well, how many lumens is it? Well, with an infrared illuminator, you're going to want to say, well, what is the wavelength? Okay, some of them are 810 nms. Those were the older ones. Most of the new ones are 850 nms. Okay, those are the ones I suggest that you get. And like I was saying, some people want the ones that are 940 nms. They say that the red glow is not as bright as the 840, and the 940 nm illuminator, the red glow that comes out the front is not as visible as the 850 nm illuminator. But from my experience, you know, I hunt hogs. I shoot hogs at 40 yards, 50 yards, 70 yards, 80 yards. They can't see that light. It's not that bright. Okay, coyotes can't see that light. It's not something that's going to get their attention. So I wouldn't be concerned. I would go for the range with the 850 nms. So those are the basic components of an infrared illuminator. You want to look at the quality of the housing. You want to decide what type of lens you want, what size lens you want on it. You want to be concerned about the weight. You want to look at it and say, well, what is the wattage on it? Is it 2 watts, 3 watts, 5 watts? And that's about it. The other thing with your illuminators, you want to change your batteries often. I buy good batteries. These LG batteries I have found to be very good, and I'll change them every couple hours. Now they'll run longer than that, but just like any flashlight, the longer you run it, at a certain point the battery's going to start getting weak, and your beam is going to start to get weaker. And when you're out at night, you're not even going to notice that, but you're not going to get the same range. So it's a lot more cost effective to just buy some extra batteries and change your batteries every couple hours. That way you're always going to be maintaining the brightest infrared beam that you can, and you're going to get the most distance out of your illuminator. Well, I hope this helps. I'm not going to tell you which illuminators are the best, but I hope this gives you a little more information so that when you're going out and you're evaluating illuminators, you can ask the right questions. I'm Henry with Digital FOV, maker of digital crosshairs. Hope you guys have a lot of good hunting experiences.